So, good evening. I'm back again, and tonight I'm John. Tonight I've got Ollie.
Hey, John.
And he's an Arsenal fan. He came on my channel before. We're back in January. Is it January or February? Something like that. We're back.
Yeah. Towards the end of last year.
Yeah. I was only a novice then. I was a novice, but but what it is nowadays, I mean, the subscribers are shot through the roof, and someone's just given 750 sub sort of thing. So yeah, so welcome to my channel, Ollie, and how's things for you?
Very good. Well, personally good. Arsenal wise, worried. I'm worried, John.
Yeah. I bet you are with the team you've got sort of thing. So we come to him in a second sort of thing. So if you do like the video, guys, could you please slap a like on the video and also subscribe if you are new. I've got 750 subscribers now, which I think is great. So, and I'm having problems with the live box as well. So I'm sure people will come back in a second. So I'll just go through a few comments first very quickly. I've got Leicester fan, Lily said, yo, and yo too back, Lily. Great guy. And I've got here, John, hope you're good, Jules. I'm fine. And I've got Jason, my guy, even lad, sort of you okay. And he's a London lad, by the way, sort of thing, but he's a lovely lad. And Jake, evening lads, even to you, Jake. He's a Leeds United fan. I've got Jules from Norway. Said hi, Jason, and they just hi to everybody else. So, like I said, you know the drill. So I want to talk about Joe Willock. And according to reports of Fabrizio Romano, and he's an Arsenal fan, Italian, and he said that we finally agree a fee of £25 million to prize Joe Willock away from Arsenal, and I believe it's going to be a 6-year contract. And God, it took him 3 months to get this guy. So what's your take on it, and are you going to miss him?
What's my take on it? I'm torn, John. I'm torn. What are you paying £25 million for? You've got a 21-year-old England international at youth level.
Yeah.
I think what you're paying for is he's a good player today.
Yes.
I think it's what he could become. And I tried to think of it the other way around. Let's say Newcastle had Joe Willock. Right, and he had that astonishing season last year with you guys. What was it, 8 goals in 14 games or something?
Yeah.
Let's say that Arsenal paid £25 million for him. I'd be excited. I'd be thinking this is the kind of signing we need to make. A 21-year-old English player, homegrown, a goal machine, and it's the opposite. We're selling him to you, and it makes me think, well, what is the basis for doing that? And the reason is we're skint. We need the money. And we're not going to use him. So it makes sense to get rid of him. But people are seething. Our Arsenal fans are livid about this and can't believe it. How do you feel about it, getting Joe Willock?
Do you know what it is? Well, I'm glad we got him, because at the end of the day, he's the sort of player that we need, because we've been looking for a box-to-box midfielder for years and years and years. And he could be our new Rob Lee, in my opinion. But I thought when he came to us, I thought, is he going to make it at Newcastle? Is he going to come out here just match fitness? But this guy, I know after 5 minutes, I thought this guy's going to be a cracking player. Him, I mean, he's young, he's 21, and I think this guy could be a tongue legend if he stays in Newcastle for a long time. And I tell you what it is, Ollie. I mean, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'll be absolutely furious at that, because he's young and he's the sort of player I need. I mean, I think Arteta's got this one wrong, in my opinion, but I'm so happy that we're going to get him. He's going to have a medical tomorrow morning early, and I'm just going to go through this comments quickly because I'm just a flan for the moves. So Jake's putting thumbs up. Jason, thanks very much, my guy. Great lad, and congratulations on your 50 subs today. If you haven't subscribed to Jason's channel, please do so. He's got some cracking content as well. He's young and he'll probably do it for the next 20 years, I hope. And then everyone says hi, Jules and Willock, and Jules, Jason. What we're paying for is a scoring midfielder, and he's absolutely right. I've got David. He had his medical. David's going to have his medical tomorrow morning, mate, apparently, to news. I'm sure Steve Bruce's press conference is going to be fun. It's going to be repeat, copy and paste. But I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'm going to stream the press conference action tomorrow night around 7, 8 o'clock. I got Jason. I paid for Bruce out. I never wanted him in. I wanted him out if he even came in. Medical reports will be early in the morning. That's from Jason. I've got a Swansea fan, Gareth Price. I'll deliver his tyres nearly every day. Great guy. I hope his team gets promoted. What's up, John? What's up, G? Hope you're okay. Now I've got my guy, the condom jumper's back. Yay! And that's from Paul. You know what? If I was a dad and you're young, and I'll be happy to do me son. I'm telling you, I'll figure out great times. And she'll say, no, John, he's got it perfectly. Totally agree. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm so glad we're getting Joe Willock. I don't know what the fans are saying about it, Ollie. What are the fans are saying about it back here at your club?
I think it's generally negative. It's generally negative. So Alan Davies, I don't know if you know him, Jonathan Creek actor, but he's quite a big, well-known Arsenal fan. There's an Arsenal podcast. He's absolutely livid. Thinks he's a young British talent. Why are we selling him?
Yeah, man.
If you look at it, if you try and take it away emotionally from it, it reminds me a little bit of the Martinez sale. So our Argentinian goalkeeper that we sold to Villa. What a great prospect. Sold him for 25 million. Now we regret it. And now we're going out there to buy Ramsdale for 30 million, who's half as good. We're selling Joe Willock. And as I said to you, it's what he could become. He's 21 years old. I don't think he's filled out. You know, Joe Willock's 6'1". He's still a gangly, scrawny player. It's what he could become. I think if we go through Joe Willock's pros and cons, he tops out at the 99th percentile for goals from a midfield perspective. If you go across the top 5 leagues, you know, you are buying what is probably a false 9, like a false striker. I don't technically that sound, and his passing isn't great. His progressive passing isn't very good at all. It's his movement, his runs, his dribbling, his arrival in the box, his timing. And there were some Arsenal fans I was talking to, and they were saying with Joe Willock, he's got something you can't teach, that you can't train in the academy, and that is timing your runs into the box and knowing where to be to score that goal. So I think most of the 8 goals he scored for you are probably all in the 6-yard box, where he was in the right place at the right time, arriving when the ball was going to land there. And that's the kind of thing a top quality centre forward's got, which isn't really Joe Willock, but it is. He reminds me a little bit of Aaron Ramsey when we had him and his movement. Ramsey more technical, but a bit slower. But what you're getting with Willock, as you've seen this year, he's just got a complete and utter desire to get in that box. He's very attack-minded. And so I think the reason I'm not fuming about the sale, like you asked, is because Arteta and Arsenal style at the minute, we aren't a rampaging, counter-attacking, hit-you-on-the-break team. We're a boring, possession-based, pass it out from the goalkeeper, work it up the pitch slowly, onto the wings and into the box. And I honestly don't think Willock would fit. And I think Aaron Ramsey towards the end didn't quite fit. It's difficult to know where to play him because he's not a conventional number 10.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, sort of thing. Like, you know, I think Arteta's got his own ways. He's after Odegaard as well, I believe, for Real Madrid. And he's after, you just mentioned Ramsdale as well. I believe that deal is off, by the way. So trying to get Ramsdale from Sheffield United, that deal is off. That's good. What I heard from TalkSport. So just listen to that one. And I got love you, bro. Love you too, Paul. You're a great guy. And he's also on my channel for me live watch along. And Peter, even John, how you doing? Peter, absolutely fine. I've got so much waste that's on me timeline on Twitter and he's cussing at Malcolm McDowell. So I think it's absolutely disrespectful. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, if you said a dear, you still do a job. And the young Newcastle fans needs to wake up, fix up, and do some research. We're having a go at him. So I've got Eric as well. I was buzzing from the Willock deal right up to the man of major wages. What has he really done to deserve to be the highest paid player at the club? I'm so happy you got him. Just a bit myth. Yeah, I have to agree with you there because that's down to his dad. His dad wanted the best for his player, for his son. Do you know what I mean? And I'll come to his dad in a minute because I don't know too much about the guy. I've got to read this out very quickly. I know, just hoping Ashley Wundy will see that Bruce is just milking money from him. And then I've got cheers again. Ollie, would you take Henrik on a fee to place Willock? You're more than welcome to him.
You're right. Thanks.
Again?
Yeah, no, you're okay. You can keep
No?
it.
It's on a three. It's on a three, yeah. You can send Henrik and Shelby. Start that engine, man. But I really took a Henrik. He actually played good. I bet he would, actually, because there are better players around him. Do you know what I mean? Jay, I think I've got a question for you as well. Ollie, for neutral, it looks on the outside in, like the Arsenal leadership just doesn't have a long-term strategy, and Ollie just throw him poo at the wall to see what sticks. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, quickly on the Willock wages. So he was on about $1 million a year, which I think is about 20 grand a week at Arsenal. So he's still on a kind of a junior level contract. So it's interesting to see how much you've upped him there. Someone on 20 grand a week, I don't think you should be paying him more than 70 to get his signature. So that is quite a strange one. He still had 2 years left on his deal, so he was going to go. I don't think he was going to 20 grand a week for much longer. In terms of Arsenal leadership, I would say what leadership? Because it's difficult to know who's in charge. Is Edu in charge or is Arteta in charge? There isn't really anyone there steering the ship. We seem to be... What worries me, John, you asked me how I think about the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
our team is worse than it was a year ago when we finished 8th. And it was worse last season when we finished 8th. If we sign Odegaard, we will almost have exactly the same team as we had a year ago, starting 11. But you're changing David Luiz for Ben White. And that's if we sign Odegaard, which we probably won't. So I'm with you. I don't think the leadership's strong enough. And it worries me, again, like I said, it's about styles. What I quite like about Newcastle, despite the lack of signings you've made, at least I can see the style that you'll play with St. Maximan, Willock. If you've got someone up front who can hold the ball and all that pace around him with Willock arriving through the middle, I can see you tearing teams apart if you play the correct way. If you play on the counter and don't try and be flash, you could rip teams apart. What are Arsenal going to do? Honestly, I'm so bored of watching Arsenal play. The one thing I liked about Willock is a bit of a wild card. You could throw Willock on with 25 minutes left, and the lad's just going to run in the box 20 times until he hits something. Who are we going to chuck on with 20 minutes left now? Lacazette? You know what I mean? What we
That's the problem. I heard he's had a good pre-season apparently, but Aubameyang, 6 friendlies, he scores 0 goals, and that's your problem. I mean, Aubameyang, a lot of people playing since he signed that new contract, right? He's just not. He just hasn't been performing. I mean, he just hasn't been performing at all whatsoever. I don't know what's wrong with him. And actually, like I said, he's got 1 more year left on his contract. I mean, are they going to keep him? Are they going to give him a new deal? Or is Aubameyang the problem for not scoring goals?
That is the point. You've hit an uncomfortable conversation. Is actually Lacazette is probably better for Arsenal than Aubameyang. If you said to me, you've got to keep one, but they'll give you the money for one of the other two, I would rather probably cash in on Aubameyang, and he's 300 grand a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't use him. We keep sticking him out on the left wing. We've got a good left winger. We've got Saka. We've got Pepe. We've got Reece Nelson. We've got Willian. Yeah, they're not that great. We've got Martin. But we don't need someone who can't score a goal hogging the left wing, and then you've got no real striker. Because I don't think Lacazette he's more of a centre forward than a striker. I'd rather we shifted him and brought Tammy Abraham in, or another quality forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the one was going to have to go, in my honest opinion, sort of thing. You need to have that. You probably could do another striker sort of thing, really, to be fair, because obviously Aubameyang doesn't look interested these days. I do like Nicolas Pepe as well. I do like Nicolas. He's stepping up, Nicolas Pepe. I think he's a decent player. I mean, he's coming to form now, and it's going to be a big season for Nicolas. I think it'd be decent for me. And I've got some more comments as well. I've got some cheers again. I've seen many Arsenal fans saying that for English players, club peer through the roof, and now are fuming because they wanted 30 to 35 million instead of 25. But, end of the day sort of thing. He's played, 48 minutes in pre-season. And I got a Paul B, got Evening John said official that on the side. He's having a medical tomorrow morning. And I've got a couple of things as well. Tomorrow morning, I believe. But that deal should have been sorted out. We're back in the summer. We're back in the summer. And I'll tell you for why. Because we wasted, 3 months getting this guy, right? And so lucky that he got him. If he had not got Joe Willock, we would have wasted, 3 months? Try to get him without success, and we would have been in huge trouble. But,
but so someone said we wanted 35 million. I'd say a year ago we probably would. So we sold Iwobi to Everton, fleeced them solidly, 35 million for him. He was useless. Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool, 42 million, useless. Right? They're good players. They've just done nothing. I'm hoping Willock doesn't end up being the same for you boys. But we are in this current market. I would say 25 million is the same as 35 million because prices have dropped so much. We were going to pay 45 million for Houssam Aouar a year ago. Now we're thinking about whether to pay 20 million for him. I mean, I literally don't know what's going on in their heads.
Wow, that would be interesting, sort of thing. I mean, I'm sure Joe Willock would deliver that sort of thing. We'll find out, sort of, if he's worth the 25 million. But I think he's worth the 25 million, in my opinion, sort of thing. Because the thing is, so people say, because he's British, he's got to pay for the premium price, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Which, for me, it's like Chiesa. You don't say like Chiesa is worth 100 million because he's Italian. Do you know what I mean? So. It's crazy, man. I've got Jake Willock's agent's a Dell boy, obviously. Yeah, I totally agree. MP, I've got Thomas 6-year contract, I believe. The rumours, this is Eric, even to Eric. I've got to say even to, by the way, but I'll be okay. I got notification bell at long last. Okay, the rumour on Willock's demands were £90,000 a week, which is ludicrous for 20 million road. Unproven lad on Arsenal. If I was a fan, I would be very, very worried about the season. Should have cashed in on Aubameyang.
Yeah, mate, I'm crapping myself. I really am. Don't start well either. Brentford away, and then I think we've got Chelsea and City after that. It's not pleasant. We could, in theory, lose all 3 games. You know what I mean? And I think if we're outside of the top 7 come Christmas, Arteta could go. Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing as well. If he can't get away. What he got away with last season was no fans in the stadium. They had no fans in the stadium, right? So he got away with that. This time, he did not get away with it at all whatsoever because fans in the stadium, he's got to hit that ground running because they have spent a lot of money this season. Like, we're coming to your signings in a minute, so we're happy with them. I got Jake again. You're not wrong, Noddy. Well, it gives Newcastle options through the middle, which is what they sorely lacked first half of the season. Without him, there's ASM could be marked out, Wilson isolated, etc. Well, Truls, at least we went for a good player, a couple more, we might be in the top 10 team. We need a centre back with Pierce, we need a backup striker for me. Jake always looked to me that Arteta always trying to shoehorn Orban, and like I said, in his own philosophy and not getting the best out of either. What's your take on that one?
Yeah, no, absolutely 100%. He wants to play both of them. They can't play together. We know that. He doesn't seem to trust Aubameyang up front. Like you said, I think our starting front for 3 should be Pepe, Orba, and Saka. But Orba, I don't know what it is. Something happened in his life. I know his mother got sick. Yeah. He got malaria. There were issues back home. And he just went off the boil, mate. His confidence went. His head went down. He's scoring. He's a natural goal scorer, but he's just lost the ability to do it. And I don't know if it's one of these things where he's just shot. He's just shot. The decline, he's declined so much, it can't just be an age curve where he's getting older. I think it's a mental thing. And whether he needs to sit down for a little bit and let Lacazette play in front of him and he can watch every week until he picks it up, if that's the way to do it, or what I think Arteta will do is just play Aubameyang every single week until he scores a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll play those 2 up front as well. So if it's my way, I'll drop Aubameyang because he just doesn't seem to set the club. If I was an Arsenal fan, absolutely furious to mate. I totally agree there. But like I said, I've just got to find a solution for the up front. And I totally agree with you, man. I've got Jason again. How long do you give Arteta to get you back in the top 4? And do you think the fans are eating a word when Wenger out? Knowing he always got in European football. In fact, he always got into the Champions League.
Yeah, It's true, but we were on the decline when he went. We did start to drop. It came silly when we were always winning the trophy we call the top four. You know what I mean? 4th place, and we don't even do that anymore. How long do we give Arteta to get in the top 4? It's not going to happen anytime soon. 3 years. If you look at the top, John, how are we ever going to compete with Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City? One of them could have a bad year, but 3 of them, no chance. Arsenal's competition at the minute, I honestly, if we lose against City and Chelsea, I'm not that fussed. They are not our competition. We're that bad. Our competition this year, the big games I'm looking forward to now, Everton, Villa, Spurs, Wolves, Leicester. If we beat those teams, I'm going to say that is where we should be. If we finish 5th, I think that's a good year for us, honest to God.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, like I say, he's got to start well. He's got to deliver now because you have to spend a lot of money. And also, he's got no excuses now. He's got no excuses whatsoever because you don't want to be left behind, don't you? As an Arsenal fan, you just don't, because you should be in Champions League for the club you've got. You should be in Champions League every single season because you've got a great fan base. You really have, but it's just down to the manager at the end of the day. But I've got Tom saying Arteta doesn't make sense. He said he is in their plans and he will get game time, and that never happened. It's so confusing. I've got Snippies. Chelsea are going to win the league. Kings of Europe, I've got them to win the league anyway. Let's be real. Now they've got Lukaku sort of thing. Breaking news, by the way, Lukaku has signed for Chelsea from Inter Milan for a club record £97.5 million on a 5-year deal. So wishing more the best in blue. I got Lee as well. What's your thoughts on Willock supposed to having a Champions League opportunity clause in the deal? It seems the way forward for players now, even though I think it's disrespectful in a sense, stepping stone. I have my son at first, right, before you come on. For me, I don't believe in these clauses at all whatsoever. I really, really don't. For me, it just goes to show that a player is not really committed to the club. And if I was the agent sort of thing, or if I was the opposite club, I'd say tell them to get lost. You either want the player or you don't, right? All about this player. I don't want these clauses getting in, right? That's it, you know. Now, we can leave ourselves wide open. If someone comes in first, it happened to Josip Perez, right? He had a release clause of £30 million, which he had absolutely no idea whatsoever that he had. Actually, exactly the same is going to with Joe Willock. But I'd like to know, right, and someone must know this, are there release clauses in his contract? And we need to know this. And I hope the press tomorrow morning, when they ask Steve Bruce the question, right, asking that question, are there any relegation clauses, release clauses in Joe Willock's contract? And that's one of the questions I'll definitely be asking.
Yeah, what you want is what I call a Harry Kane clause, where you write a terrible letter to Daniel Levy to say, if we don't make Champions League, will you sell me? He goes, yeah, all right then, Harry, I will. And then they don't make Champions League. And when Harry Kane asked to leave, he goes, what clause? What agreement? I don't remember one. See you at training.
I think Daniel Levy must have been drunk.
That's what I want.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God. I tell you what it is, right? Let's be real about it, right? I mean, Harry Kane wants to move away from Spurs to go to Man City, right? I mean, Daniel Levy said, okay, cool. You can leave, but we want to get £160 million before you even think about it, do you know what I mean? Because Daniel Levy is a tough negotiator, right? And he knows how to make money, right? He is a businessman, right? He wants the best he can get for Harry Kane, £160 million. Maybe 150 million, I think it'd be a way. But as an Arsenal fan, you must be glad if he goes. You got to be delighted.
Because when they sold Bale, they pissed all the money up the wall, which we absolutely loved. It's an absolute crap. So unless they do a Liverpool, when Liverpool sold Coutinho, it turned their whole world around, and all of a sudden they're winning the league. I think, do you know what? It could be a good time for him to sell. I don't know if he's just playing a hard game. They get 150 million for Harry Kane in this market. What they could pick up, is scary. It is quite scary. And all the teams trying to shift players fire sales across the French and the Spanish leagues, it worries me. It does worry me. If Kane, what might be the best outcome, weirdly, is if Kane stays there and completely loses interest, like Aubameyang, has a terrible season, just ticking over. When I watch Wilfried Zaha play, I see a player that doesn't want to be at Crystal Palace, and he hasn't want to be there for 2 years. He's just waiting for someone to sign him. Puts a transfer request in every 2 weeks. So yeah, it's a difficult one, mate. If they lost Kane, I'd love it. But what I love more is that the disharmony and upset amongst the Spurs players and all falling out, and Kane doesn't want to be there, and Daniel Levy's upset. That's what I like.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That, like, you know, but that'll be the day Arsenal fans will be celebrating Harry Kane goes. But then again, if he goes to Man City, they won the league anyway. Let's be real about it, you know. I mean, the season will be over if you can. But I've got Eric as well. He said he thinks Brentford will definitely beat you tomorrow night. Then you have Chelsea at home, West Brom in the cup, and then City at home. Potentially 3 points out of the first 4 games would be a terrible for Arsenal. It would be a terrible start for you if that was to come through. I think you'd probably beat Brentford or... Oh, it's a hard one there because Brentford's going to be up for it as well. But I think you'd probably just win that game as well. So I think you'll start well. But the Chelsea game, that's going to be tough. Now they've got Lukaku. Man City, wow, that's going to be tough for now. It's going to be hard. So I don't know what to say on that one there. So I've got 10 snippies as well. 3 points from Arsenal for Chelsea would be perfect. Now I've got Peter as well. Question for you. Ollie, where do you think Arsenal will finish in the league?
So we did well against Chelsea last year. But you're right, Brentford's going to be tough. Whenever a new team comes up, I think they always perform quite well. The excitement, it's like a cup final, their first game. So I'm a bit annoyed that we have to play them first. Man City is the most boring game I've ever watched. Whenever we play them, they always beat us 3-0. It's really... Pep feels sorry for Arteta and takes his foot off the gas in the 60th minute. Where will Arsenal finish? 7th. And that's being optimistic. But I do think... I think this transfer window so far... I honestly think a third of the business has taken place. I think we're not even halfway through yet in terms of the business. There's going to be so much movement. When the time comes and unlocks, there'll be loads and loads of movement. So the team we have at the minute could be significantly different kind of start of the season. So if we don't change the team, we will not finish in the top 7.
Yeah, I have to agree because you definitely, like I say, you need a backup goalkeeper as well. And you could do with a creativity in the midfield, like Odegaard, if he's going to be him. So if you definitely need a creativity in the midfield, no question about that. But you definitely need a backup keeper because if Leno gets injured, right, and he does go down quite easily, by the way, then you're going to have problems in the goalkeeper department as well. I mean,
John, you're not factoring in. We've got 4 right backs. All right.
Yeah.
We've got 4 right backs. We've only got 1 goalkeeper, and we've got no attacking midfielder, but we've got 4 right backs, mate. Okay.
Unbelievable, man. Absolute joke. It really, really is.
Yeah.
Absolute joke. And I think that needs to be sorted at ASAP. That's Dan Arteta, by the way. He's the one who wants to get the players in. He needs to start to do it very quickly. We just got asked question. If you do want to subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. And also, could you please stick a like on the video? And I've got 13 people watching live at this moment in time. Hopefully, we'll get some more soon. I've got Lee as well. I can't remember seeing that background on 40 Towers, John. Yeah, just changing rooms again. Willock already proved that he's a decent player for the club last season. Let's hope he does it this season. This is going to be an absolute test. I've got Richard coming in. Richard, how are you doing, Gouda?
How you doing? You all right, mate? Long time no speak.
Long time no speak, man. It's just great to see you. So I've been thinking of you as well. I just wonder whether we're going to ever hear from you sort of thing because you've been quite busy.
Yeah, no, I have. I had a bit of a break through the summer as well from the football stuff. So back now, the new season starting. Excited for the big kick-off tomorrow for us and looking forward to it.
Wow. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. I mean, Brentford are away tomorrow. And are you happy with your business? Are you ready to go? Or you need to get some more players coming through the door? Because you definitely need a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, we don't look ready. We haven't looked ready in pre-season. There's not a lot of changes from last season. Obviously, we finished 8th, which wasn't really good enough. And we've only really brought in one first-team player to improve the first team, Ben White, which looks a good signing. A lot of money, but he's young. He's got promise, so I'm fairly happy with that. 2 younger guys coming into the squad, which is fine, but I think we need more. If we're going to improve on 8th place last season, if we're going to try to get back into Europe, which I think is important for the club financially as much as anything else, then I think we need more. We need more in midfield. I think we need another goal scorer. We need a backup goalkeeper, possibly a right back. You know, we're quite short of where we need to be if we want to challenge again. But it depends on what the ambitions of the club are. I mean, listening to Mikel Arteta today in his press conference, I'm not that convinced that we're going to do a lot more business. I think we're going to get rid of a few players. Obviously, you're going to probably get Joe Willock from us, which is probably a good deal for all concerned. But it worries me slightly that he's a goal-scoring midfield player. We don't have one of those. We're trying to reduce the age of our squad with young English players, and we're selling one on who plays a role in the team that we don't have. It just seems a little bit strange. I understand why. Joe did really well with you guys, didn't he, last season? It seems a good fit. And it's money in the bank for us. So I can understand why we're doing it. But there's other players who maybe are more priority to get rid of at this moment. But people don't want them by the look of it. So I suppose you just take what you can get. But yeah, I mean, we need more, I think. You know, I'm a bit worried going into the season as it stands, the first 3 or 4 games, if we don't get anything done soon, I think we're going to struggle with the games that we've got.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Look at your fixtures coming. You've got Brentford away. Then you've got Chelsea's just like Lukaku at home. You got to play the cup game against West Brom. Then you got Man City as well. I think, that's a tough start, very tough start, Richard. And I'm quite worried for you because you haven't got a creative midfielder as well. That's another one you need as well.
No, we haven't.
And Smith Rowe, I mean, he can't do it by himself. What they're doing, they're pinning their hopes on Saka. That's all they're doing, Saka and Smith Rowe. And we're the senior players. We're the responsibility. I mean, you got Lacazette. I mean, he can be hot and cold. Aubameyang doesn't look interested, right? Your defense, I mean, Kieran Tierney is quality. He's a quality left back. I do like him. You know, now you got Ben White coming. I think he's going to be decent, but you need a backup keeper. And they're trying to get Ramsgate as well, but Ramsdale, but he ain't going to come because they called it off.
I mean, you think about it, right, John? We've needed a backup goalkeeper since the end of last season when we didn't take on Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan went back to Brighton. Now he's gone on loan again. So that was what, May? It's now August. Why haven't we got this sorted out? You know, we're going into the season with one fit goalkeeper. If Leno gets injured tomorrow or in training next week, we've had it. We've got Renarson as our backup. He played a few games last season. He's not ready. He's nowhere near good enough. And it's a massive concern. The club have not done their business right at all again for another summer. It's not the first time. And yes, I think we may well get 1 or 2 in before deadline day. But the season started. We could have lost 3 games by then. We could be bottom of the league, looking at the fixtures that we've got. And then it's going to look like panic buys, even if they've been on the you know, maybe we've been working on them already, but they're going to look like panic buys. We lose our first 3 games and then we buy 2 or 3 players in. That's what they're going to look like, especially if we pay a lot of money for them. So to me, we've done it wrong again. We need to get these deals done earlier. I know it's not that easy, but other clubs have bought players. You know, we've got a couple of deals done, but it's nowhere near enough. And it worries me massively going into this season. Normally, I'd be excited for a season thinking, yeah, we're going to improve on last year. We can challenge, we can win something. This year, it's like, I'm not looking forward to it at all because it's going to be, at this moment as it stands, it's going to be pretty much like last season. We're going to probably have a lot of possession in games. We're not going to score enough goals. We're going to get caught on a counter-attack, and we're going to probably end up finishing between 7th and 10th as things stand. If we make a couple of signings between now and the end of the window, maybe that might help us and we may be able to push into the top 6. But that's the maximum I can expect from us this season, is the top 6. That's the maximum. And I'm not confident that we can get that at this moment in time. But you never know. We beat Brentford, we beat Chelsea, we beat Man City, top of the league. Who knows? We can push on and, you know, and maybe challenge for the top 4. But I think that's a bit optimistic. I can't see where that's going to come from with the squad that we've got, with the players that we've got, with the system that we're playing. Arteta today actually was talking about Ivan Toney, actually, of course, who played for you guys, didn't he?
He did.
A few years ago. He didn't play much, did he? But he was at Newcastle, wasn't he? And Arteta really suits him, which is great. He scored a lot of goals, and it's almost like, well, he's got a lot of good attacking players: Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe. He's playing a system that doesn't suit them. It makes no sense. it's all very well playing a system if you've got the players to make it work. If you don't, you've got to adapt your system to suit your players. And he's not done that, Arteta, in 18 months. He's stuck with the system, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with the system in theory. It works for Man City. It works for other clubs. They've got the players to do it. We don't. And what he's got to have done by now is adapted that to suit what we've got. And he's not doing that. He seems to be hell-bent on this system without maybe he's trying to get the players to adapt, and some of them have struggled. Aubameyang's a prime example. His goals have dried up, and it's dried up over the last year or so because he doesn't really fit. Is he better playing left in that system? Probably not. Is he better playing through the middle? Well, not really, because now we're putting crosses into the box. He's not the greatest in the air, and it's so what you've got to do is you've got to get the best out of what you've got. And if we're not going to buy the players that we need, it's a massive job that Arteta's got to do. And he's not, so far, he's failed on that side of it. And let's hope that he can learn quickly, because looking at pre-season, he certainly hasn't done. We've played exactly the same way. And we're losing to the teams that we should be wanting to compete against in the Premier League, Chelsea and Tottenham. They've just beaten us in pre-season. And I think they beat us fairly comfortably, really, overall. We wasn't good enough. And that's a worry, especially the start that we've got.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Good that one, Ollie. I mean, Rich is absolutely spot on by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I like what Rich said about improving the first team. We've got to move the needle we're trying to catch up to the top four. Our team is probably worse than it was last year because we haven't re-signed Odegaard. We haven't got Matt Ryan as backup. And the teams in the top four have gotten better. Liverpool have got their defence back. Konate, Chelsea brought in Lukaku. City probably going to get Kane. If they don't get Kane, they'll get someone else. Outstanding.
And they've got Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish, exactly. 100 million out.
Yeah.
There's no way Spurs, worryingly, are actually making what looks like reasonably good transfers and challenging us for Lautaro Martinez. And it does worry me. There could be even more substantial gap. And as I said, I think our competition this year are your Evertons, your Aston Villas, your Leicesters. And then if we can pip them, only then can we look at challenging Spurs or Man United to get into the top four, because you're not going to touch Liverpool. You're not going to touch Chelsea or Manchester City, not for a couple of years.
No. We're not. We're miles away from that level at the moment. And to be honest with you, I think over the last couple of years, we've dropped further and further away from them. And we've gone backwards, which is worrying, where, other teams are maybe spending money. We're looking at being a little bit more careful because we want to do things, as they say, that's sustainable, which is fair enough. I've got no problem with that. But unfortunately, other clubs aren't playing the same game as us. They're spending money. They're improving their team. They're improving their squad. And we are getting left behind. We've steadily declined, since we finished second in 2016 when Leicester won the league. And since then, our decline has been rapid. Obviously we've had 3 managers, Arsene Wenger and 2 others since. And there's been a bit of upheaval behind the scenes with the scouting, things all changing and the youth setup changing and everything else. There's been loads going on at the club. And unfortunately, eventually, maybe all these changes might play off and we might end up being a really strong club in 5 or 6 years. I don't know. At the moment, there's no evidence to suggest that's going to happen, but we're going to have to wait and see, because Arsenal have got this, a process, if you like, that they're calling it, which seems to be getting in lots of young British players and changing the whole ethos of the club, maybe, which is fine. Unfortunately, what it's going to mean is we're going to have to probably suffer 3 or 4 years more of being outside of that top 4, top 6 even, which, can we afford to do that financially with the position that we're in? I don't know. I think we need to be in Europe again quite quickly. We thought, 1 year out of the Champions League will be all right. 5 years later, we're not in Europe at all. And it worries me that in 5 years' time, if that decline carries on, we're going to be battling relegation. And it sounds crazy, and I don't want to believe that's possible. But looking at the way we've declined in the last 4 or 5 years, without Champions League football and now without European football at all, it kind of worries me where we might be in 5 years if things don't change. But let's just hope that this is the bottom of the process and we're going to start building and it's going to start paying off maybe in a couple of years' time. I'm not convinced yet, but we're going to have to see. This season, I think, is a massively big season for Arsenal, because if we end up where we did last year in a similar position in the table, we're not in Europe, we don't have that finance of 2 seasons in a row outside of Europe, I think that we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be having to sell players or some of our better players we're going to have to sell. Maybe is Saka going to want to stay at Arsenal if we're drifting along in mid-table for another 2 years, not in Europe? He wants to become a regular in England team. He's going to be one of the best young players in Europe. Are Arsenal going to hold him back? Are we going to be able to keep him? Smith Rowe. These are the players that are worth money. Are going to be worth money. They're on long contracts. They had 2 good seasons, but we're still mid-table. Man City will be in for Saka. They'll offer 150 million for him in 2 years' time. We ain't going to turn that down. But would we reinvest that in the squad properly? There's no evidence that we would. So it's this season in particular is a massive season for Arsenal. And what I mean by that is it's massive in the fact that we have to be in Europe next season after. We have to qualify for Europe one way or the other, whether it's in the top 6, whether it's winning a cup or whatever it is. This season we have got. I mean, Arteta today wouldn't even commit to what his aim was for the season. He just deflected the question. He wouldn't even answer and say the aim is to get back into Europe. I want him to say that because we need to know what the ambition of the club is. Because as fans, our ambition is we want to win the league. We want to win the Champions League and all these kind of things. Not realistically possible, but the club needs to tell us what their ambitions are. If their ambitions are just to muddle along in mid-table, then let us know. Then we will think fair enough. At least we know what to expect. As it stands at the minute, I think a lot of Arsenal fans are thinking we can challenge for the top 4. Well, the club have made no evidence to suggest that's what their ambition is. They certainly haven't done it in the transfer market to suggest that. So Arteta was asked a question today and he just deflected it. He wouldn't answer a question. He didn't directly say the aim is to get back in Europe. The aim is to finish top 6. The aim is to win a cup. He never said that. He just said the aim is to win on Friday against Brentford, who've been in the Championship for about 50 years. That's his ambition at the club at the moment, is to win tomorrow night against Brentford. I mean, is that how far we've fallen? From being in the Champions League final against Barcelona to, as long as we beat Brentford, that's all right.
I remember when Arsene Wenger, he wouldn't concede the league title when Man United were practically getting on the bus to go around Old Trafford.
Yeah.
We could win it. And he would keep trying to say we could still win the league. 12 fights off the top. I'm with you. The one thing I like about the teams above us are ruthless. Chelsea know if you finish second in the league as a Chelsea manager, you'll get the boot. It doesn't matter if you're a club legend, Frank Lampard, you'll get the boot. With Arsenal, we're like, nah, we haven't had fans in the stadium. COVID. But I'm with you. Here's a controversial opinion, John, and one that you probably haven't thought about. I think there is more chance of Newcastle winning the league before Arsenal do. And you might think that is bonkers, right? Hear me out. We've got an owner that doesn't want to sell. He's a multi-billionaire. He's not interested in the club. He's not going to put money in. He's never put his hand in his own pocket. He's not going to sell. We'll tick over. Right? We're not going to challenge, I don't think, for years. If Newcastle were up for sale, get the right buyer. Let's just say that sheikh comes out of nowhere with his 20 billion, right? It could happen. Mm-hmm. You could win the league. You could do a Man City win the league within a few years of him coming in. But honest to God, if you get the right buyer for your club, you could, in theory, win the league in the next 5-6 years, depending on how much money and how much they want this. Whereas I think Arsenal, we are literally going to hit Liverpool. We're in the Liverpool zone. We're in the friend zone, mate. We ain't getting invited to the party for another team.
Well, all I can say is, I mean, we had the right buyer to buy Newcastle United, but the Premier League just don't want to know. I mean, they're just delaying all the time in court. The cat case is coming up next month, right? I can guarantee you the cat case goes through and we win the cat case, right? Then the chances are it might get us a takeover because the Premier League might want to talk to Newcastle United and have a out-of-court settlement, yeah? But if that is true, and I hope it does, then if you do get a takeover, I think I'm going to have to agree. I think Newcastle will probably win the league before you guys do because you haven't got the ambition. You got some billionaire, Stan Kroenke. He don't want to spend the money. You're right. Then he was offered something like $2 billion to sell the club by this guy, and he said no, and he don't want to sell the club. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to upset Arsenal fans? Is he trying to not giving you any hope at the club? I think it's a joke. It really, really is. But on Newcastle, excuse me, we waited 3 months, right, to get Joe Willock. Right, 3 months. We laid all our eggs to get Joe Willock. If they not got Joe Willock, they would have been toxic at Newcastle United, and we would have been in big, big trouble. But Joe Willock's dad is his agent, right? He's an agent, right? And he must have squeezed Newcastle United every single penny to make him the highest paid player, £90,000 a week. What do you make of that, Richard? 90 grand a week, if that's true.
Well, I mean, if that's what he's going to get, good luck to him. I mean, you know, that's a great deal, isn't it? You know, I mean, it'd be a lot more than he's been getting at Arsenal. And, you know, I guess that's what transfers are about, aren't they? You know, you want to, you know, I mean, I suppose, you know, looking at it realistically, are Newcastle in a stronger position than Arsenal? Probably not. Yet, I agree with what Ali said. It's potential if Newcastle get taken over, then I agree there's a big possibility they could win the league before we next do. At the moment, you'd have to say Arsenal are still a bigger club than Newcastle, possibly. So on that side of it, you know, you could say Joe Willock's taken a step back. I don't think he has. He's going to be playing regularly in the Premier League. If he's getting 90 grand a week, then I'm sure he's going to be delighted with that. That's going to be probably double what he was getting at Arsenal. And he's playing every week. So it's happy days for him. It's a reasonably good deal for Arsenal in terms of the transfer fee. If it's going to be 25 million, you know, yeah, maybe he could be. You could say he's worth a bit more. We look at what some young English players are going for. You could say he's maybe worth a bit more than that, but he's not really played that much for Arsenal, has he? So I suppose 25 million is fair. And yeah, if he's getting 90 grand a week, then I'd say hats off to him, fair play, and enjoy yourself, Joe, and have a good time. You know, buy yourself a nice house and upgrade your car and stuff. And you know, it's a lovely place to live in Newcastle as well. So I'm sure he'll be happy here as well. So yeah, let him get on with it. And it's a good. I think it's a good deal for everyone if that's the case. Definitely, it will be a good deal for everyone, and hopefully Arsenal invest that money where it's needed. You know, hopefully not on Ramsdale. Hopefully on some other area of the pitch that's a little bit more. Yeah, we do need a backup goalkeeper. I would get someone a bit cheaper. That's going to be a second choice. It looks like Ramsdale, if we buy him, is to be first choice eventually. Whereas we, at the moment, with money side, we need to strengthen elsewhere. So let's invest that 25 million in part of the team that needs to be strengthened. Joe's happy with his deal, I'm sure. Newcastle have got a good player who's going to do a good job, probably score a lot of goals again from midfield, which is important. That may be the difference. Someone said to me the other day, it might be the difference between Newcastle staying up and not having Joe Willock's goals. So it's for 25 million, that'll pay for itself, won't it? If that's the case, if Newcastle stay up because his goals again like last season. So yeah, it's a good deal all round, and I hope it works out well for him because he's a nice lad, Joe, and he's not quite worked at Arsenal for one reason or another, and he's got his big move, and I hope it works for him.
Yeah,
let's hope so. Just go back to these comments there, because I've got quite a few. I'll be as quick as I can. I've got Arsenal keep William as a Chelsea fan. We laughed at him, and he came a flop.
Yeah.
Do you think Smith Rowe and Saka will have to carry Arsenal again this season?
Probably. Yeah, at the moment. Yeah.
Embarrassing. Yeah. I've got Terry as well. Even Jen. Steve Bruce put himself in the shot by stating to the press that Willock is our priority sign. That opens the door for Willock's dad. It's urgent to get an improved deal. We spoke about that, haven't we? We spoke about that. I mean, they fleeced. They absolutely squeezed the club to dry. £90,000 a week. I mean, well done to his dad and well done to Joe. And then I got Saka. It's too young to be able to carry a team of misfits. And I got Jigger. Also, only 3 points off finish to the bottom half, and only 2 points off newly promoted team who should remain nameless. They're dropping even further, doing a real affair now. Wow. And I got some more comments very quickly, sort of thing. And be as quick as I can. So if I haven't read any comments to you guys, then I've got so many people here, sort of thing, and I've lost half of them anyway, but I'll do the best I can. Right, also going for the likes of Ramsdale and Tony, when they could have probably be able to get the players like Callum Wilson, James Wills, Fowles, Lewis, Dunk, etc.
Callum Wilson would be good. He's done well for you guys. He scores goals, and he'd be a good player for Arsenal. But I don't think we'll be able to get him now anyway, because I think he seems pretty settled, doesn't he, at Newcastle, and he's an important player for you guys. James Ward-Prowse would be a good shout. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having him. He's a good player. He'd improve our midfield, but again, how much would he cost?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I don't know how many years left he's got on his contract, by the way. I just don't know.
Yeah,
but not that many. But Southampton cannot sell any more players. They just sold Westergaard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and Danny Ings. Yeah, that's right.
They sell James Ward-Prowse offered to be hell on. I can see.
You're right.
walking away sort of, and that's before the season even starts, and that's a shame for that club because they're a terrific club, and obviously struggle this season as well. I've got sad thing is Arsenal's post Wenger as a mid-table team. Tammy Abraham to Roma looks like a done deal, 40 million. I think we made 170 million on loans and sales. Love Marina. She is stunning, by the way. And would you have kept Unai Emery if you knew Arteta was going to be the manager?
That's a good question, actually. That's a very good question. I like that. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
Fair enough. Do you think, Ollie?
I couldn't stand Emery. I couldn't stand him. And for me, it was communication. And I didn't like him. He was a bit of a character. I quite like his facial mannerisms on the touchline, but his football's pretty boring. I think you could tell he lost the dressing room. And David Luiz gave a very poignant interview, basically saying, we're happier now that something's changed. And he meant that Emery had gone. And I think he'd lost Ozil, but Ozil could lose his own kids. You know what I mean? His own mother would stop loving that man.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stand Emery. Look, honestly, I think someone like Bielsa would be fantastic for Arsenal. Someone a bit fun. It's been very stagnant and boring for a few years. We're not going to win anything. It's a bit like yourselves having Bruce in. It's boring to watch. Let's have a bit of enjoyment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Emery had lost the dressing room. I think that was obvious. I felt he was a little bit unlucky, maybe. He perhaps came to Arsenal at the wrong time. Replacing Wenger was always going to be tough. And, the communication, as you said, didn't help. I don't think his English was that great. He couldn't maybe get his ideas across to the players very well. He's obviously been successful, hasn't he? I mean, with Villarreal winning the Europa League again, he's won it 4 times, and he got us to the final and blew it on that night. And I don't know, I thought he was a little bit unfortunate maybe at Arsenal. Would I have him back if instead of Arteta? I don't know. I don't know. Arteta's taken us backwards, and that worries me. And obviously Emery kind of took us backwards from where we were at that time. So I don't know. I don't want either of them. Can we have someone else instead?
Roberto Mancini.
Give us another option because I don't like them too.
That's what's scary. I think we could have got Conte, and I really do. We could have got Conte. I would bite their hand off.
Yeah,
I like Arteta as a man, but if you said to me he gets sacked tomorrow and we get Conte, and I'll go and pick him up from the airport.
Yeah, I would. I would. Yeah.
He's in Italy somewhere, probably in Lecce. I think that's his home in Lecce. So you find him in Lecce, go and find him. And
we're going to hunt him down. We're going to hunt him down and bring him back.
Yay! That'd be amazing. It'd be fantastic for you guys. Let me just that quickly. To be honest, as neutral, I'm concerned that with the Cronkies running the show Arsenal, that Arsenal will turn into the next Newcastle, a club that once played Champions League football to finish with table in the Premier League.
Well, that's what we have done. We have done already.
Yeah. Done that for a long time. I've got two about adapting players can do that with a very good coach like Klopp and Bielsa. Otherwise, you have to be a good manager and tailor tactics to the tools. Managers and coach are not the same thing. Jake Lynn, keeping Arsene Wenger. Are you happy with Arteta Arsenal? If not, who would you like to see coming realistically? You both said Conte.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And I'd just say a club that says Arsenal turn into next Newcastle next few years, which is a shame. Is Arteta the right man to take you forward? Do you think you need a more experienced manager in charge? Well, in my opinion, I think he's got this season to make it good. If he doesn't get it right, if he doesn't get into Europe, then I can see him losing this job, in my opinion.
He might not last the season, John. He might not last the season. That's what worries me. If, we've got a tough start and if we don't pick up too many points, he might not last till Christmas. That's a reality of the situation. As much as we might like him or not, it's a results business, isn't it? And if we don't get the results, he might not last the full season anyway. If we're mid-table by Christmas or worse.
Yeah. And same with Steve. So, go on, carry on, lad. Let's go.
A good manager will maximise the tools that he's got. Like I think one of the comments said, and you got to ask yourself, has Arteta really brought the maximum out of the players that we've got? You saw Xhaka have the best game he's ever played at the Euros. Willian's been crap. And you can go for them all. Aubameyang's off, Lacazette's off. These aren't bad players. They're not bad players. Are they a top 14? Probably not. But they're not bad players. Joe Willock is a fantastic player. I actually think he's probably The reason I like him at your team, in terms of fit, he's probably the perfect player. He wouldn't fit at Arsenal because he's not a pass and move, ticky-tacky, knock the ball out, use your vision player. But for what Newcastle are, he's going to be, I think he's phenomenal. I've put him straight in my fantasy football team. I think he's going to get double figures for goals. I think he'll look really, really good. I'm pleased for him. It's another player we'll probably have in the England setup. But in terms of Arsenal, it's not the way we play because Arteta doesn't take the handbrake off. He's a little bit Gareth Southgate. He's very reserved. He doesn't want to get whooped. He'd be too embarrassed to lose. So Willock's the wrong kind of player. He's not technical enough. I think the same with Pep Guardiola. I can't remember, there was a player that, if you're a winger, you're supposed to hug the touchline. So the player comes inside, scores a goal. Pep Guardiola's fuming, takes him off. Do you see what I mean? And that's the kind of way Arteta's mindset is. Doesn't matter how good Joe Willock is, he doesn't hold his position. He's not disciplined. The one thing about Xhaka and why we like him, he does his job and he stands where he's supposed to stand. And that's what Arteta likes.
I mean, Ollie, do you think that, Arteta today was asked what his aim is for the season and he wouldn't really commit to anything? I think that comes from a fear of failing. And if he gives a target and doesn't reach it, then he's given the target for everybody to hear and he's clearly failed. And he does the same in a game. He plays with fear, doesn't he? His tactics are all about fear of losing rather than actually trying to win games. And that's what's holding us back.
Yeah. I take a look at the man. He's got his Lego haircut. He's completely immaculate. He probably just owns 10 suits, the same colour in his wardrobe because he wants to wear the same thing every day. All of his food in his cupboards in alphabetical order. The man is so regimented. I just want to take him out, get him pissed, right? Take him to a rave, and then say, mate, pick your team for the next game. It's Brentford. They're newly promoted. We're much better than them. Please just go at them. Don't go at them. They're not. It's not Chelsea. They haven't just won the Super Cup. Go and take them apart. We'll try and win it 5-0. I like Man City play the Wolves in a cup. Was it Wolves in a cup final? Beat them 6-0. That's how you do it. Don't show them any respect. Yeah. No,
it's fear. It is fear, I think, from Arteta. He's got a fear of failure. He's got a fear of losing. And I think Arsene Wenger had a fear of losing, but at least he tried to win games often, didn't he? Sometimes too much. He'd leave us too open. And now it's like we're completely the opposite. We're too reserved. We're too cautious in our approach to games. And that comes from the coach because those players, and I think Joe Willock's been a victim of that because he won't fit into a system because that's not the sort of player that he is, as you rightly said. And it's a shame because he can do a job in the Premier League. He's proven that, but he's able to play with freedom at Newcastle. No one at Arsenal can play with freedom because they've got to stick to their regimented system. It's like as you said, it's held Aubameyang back. It's holding Lacazette back. It held Ozil back, which is why Ozil didn't get to play after the lockdown and stuff like that. And it's just that the system from progressing, and unfortunately Arteta is responsible for that. And either he's got to be more flexible, be a little bit more prepared to win games, or it's going to cost him his job, unfortunately, because
he cannot coach attacking football. I would be as brutal as that. I don't think he can coach attacking football. There was a game we had something like 42 crosses into the box. Yeah. And I afterwards said, I think we did really well. We got loads of crosses into the box. Mate, we did bugger all. We did nothing. All he did was
I remember that.
Yeah, and carry on. The reason I like Willock, we quite like a double pivot. Well, if we're losing by 2 goals, scrap the double pivot, take her off, chuck Willock on, say, mate, get in the box as much as you can. We've had one Aubameyang in the box who can't head the ball despite being 6'2". Get in there, do something.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and it's like he doesn't want to lose. He'd rather lose 1-0 than lose 2-0 or 3-0, trying to get a 1-1 draw, and that's what frustrates me a lot when you watch Arsenal. There were so many games last season that we didn't score. We lost 1-0, didn't we? Probably 6, 7, 8 times we lost 1-0. And the reason why we lost 1-0 is because we'd go 1-0 down. And in the last 10 minutes, when you want to try and get an equaliser, we wasn't taking those risks that you need to take. And yes, we may have lost some of them games 2-0, but who cares? You lose 1-0, you lose 2-0. What difference does it make? If you're not going to try and get the equaliser, why are you even bothering? Surely I would rather lose 2-0, at least pushing on, trying to get the goal in the last 5 minutes and conceding one on a break. You've got to take that risk, haven't you, at some point? You've got to. And we didn't. And we lost all them games 1-0. And I can see it being the same again, unfortunately.
I want to see a team. I want to see an Arteta that takes a risk if we draw in. Yeah, it's 1-1. Get out there. It's the 70th minute, not the 83rd. Get out there.
Yeah.
Get out there. We've got to win this. It doesn't matter. And you're right. We'll be 2-1 down, and he'll be making changes in the 80th minute. And not really going for a win. I still cannot believe the Europa League semi-final. I still cannot believe we didn't win at home. Do you see what I mean? It's that kind of a risk. When you're at home, you get out there and you go for it. Go for it.
Do you think at home though this season with the fans back in the stadium? I don't think the atmosphere in the stadium will allow us to sit back if we're 1-0 down or even 1-1 against someone like Brentford at home. I think the crowd will be demanding that we attack and try to win the game. And last season, we didn't have that, did we? So the players didn't have that drive to push on and attack. Arteta wasn't giving them that sort of incentive to attack. Maybe this season with the fans, it might make a difference maybe. And that might sway Arteta, certainly at home games, to maybe go for it a little bit more. I don't know. We did seem to have a decent record away from home last year, on the counter-attack. But when we've got the onus on to attack and win the game ourselves and we're at home, that's when we struggle, isn't it? Because we are too cautious. And that's the biggest thing that we've got to change. That's not necessarily in the personnel that we've got. Like you said, he's got to get more out of what we've got. And sometimes the way to do that is to use your attacking players in a way that they're going to be more effective. And rather than the Aubameyang coming back doing a left-back job, working hard for the team when you're 1-0 down. I don't want him there. Ozil had to do it. Ozil was playing left back when we were 1-0 down. Let Ozil, for me, I would have let Ozil stand in the other half of the pitch and just give him the ball. And if he doesn't get the ball, that's not his fault. That's the rest of the players' fault for not giving it to him. And don't criticise him. I don't want him coming back and tackling back. Certainly not when we're losing. I don't want Aubameyang running back to tackle somebody in his own half when we're 1-0 down. Get him up the other end of the pitch. Let other players come and do that job. And if they can't do it, they can't do it. But at least it would show that we're trying to win the game, at least try to win the game. We're not going to win them all. We haven't got good enough players, but at least I just want to see Arsenal try to win games. And that's what we didn't do enough last season. And if we'd done it, we may well have won another 5 or 6 games and could have finished in the top 6 easily. We could have even finished in the top 4. We're only 6 points off that, weren't we, in the end?
Yeah, but you would have lost those home games off and you would have just about been in the top 4.
Yeah,
and we deserve it though. Would you have deserved it though to be in the top 4?
Well, we would have deserved it if we tried to win games and as a result of that got more points because we'd actually gone for it and tried to get the points. And I'd say we would have deserved it. The way that we played last season, we didn't deserve it. No, definitely not. But if we'd took a little bit more risk, even in the last 15 minutes of games, not all the way through a game, you've got to manage the game properly. But if you're losing or you're drawing, last 10, 15 minutes, throw everything at it. Just lob the ball into the box and fire the ball across, get the ball forward. Don't go back to the goalkeeper sideways passing for 10 minutes when you're 1-0 down. We did that so many times. It's like, come on. If you haven't learned that by now, and if we do that, if we start doing that this season, if we do that tomorrow night against Brentford, if we're losing with 10 minutes to go and we're passing it backwards and sideways, to me, he's not learned anything, Arteta, in 18 months. And I would sack him after tomorrow's game. If that
you sack after one game. You sack after one game.
If we're doing that tomorrow, if we're 1-0 down tomorrow in the last 10 minutes and we're not throwing everything at it and we're going backwards and sideways and keeping this shape and this system, we've got 2 holding midfielders on the pitch, it shows he's not learned anything. And where's the progression in that? Where's the progression from last season and the season before? I just want to see us progressing.
Even Wenger used to, he'd stick Steve Bold up in the box for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, of course you do.
Try to end somebody's son.
Of course you do.
I'm completely with you. If I see, and you're right, in the last 10 minutes, you've still got 8 players in our own half. Sometimes the whole team. It's insane.
Wow. Yeah, good. No, he needs to fix up there, doesn't he, Arteta? But
he does. He does.
He needs to fix up quickly, otherwise he's in trouble.
Yep.
Got loads of read this out quickly to them. If you could have any Newcastle players at Arsenal, who would you have other than Willock, as he's technically still at Arsenal?
Saint Maximum all day long.
Definitely. Yeah, maybe a goalkeeper.
Actually, yeah, either of them. Actually, they're both decent. Yeah, one of them two. Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah.
Good chance, good choice. You guys smashed down Highbury just to have, however amount of FA Cups. I don't know. It's not good enough. You should be competing with the best in the world, like you were promised. I heard that also said they're going to compete with Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they did say that. Yeah, we did compete with them, didn't we? We only lost 5-1 twice. You know, that's competing for 10 minutes.
5-2 and 5-1. Not good.
I told my missus my penis was 7 inches, but you know, got to say stuff.
Eddie has more vacations than players designed for Arsenal.
Yeah, he has. He's been away 5 times since the end of last season, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable. I've got Terry. £90,000 a week for Willock. It's not bad because John Joe Shelby and Joe Linton are aiming the same sort of money. John Joe's on £80,000 a week. Joe Linton is on 80. So I'll come to Joe Linton in a minute because I'm getting a lot of stick. And Eric said, John, Pete Graves just confirmed Willock is having a medical right now. That's good news. You guys take Darlow while he has to value. He's still a good keeper, Darlow. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I'd have him if we get him for, I don't know, 5 million or something to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, as a backup, he's not going to be the first team I saw for not. He ain't going to get the back and Woodman anyway. And he goes, why would you want Ramsdale? 2 clubs relegating them both. You really want the championship keeper, basically. He conceded 128 goals with Bournemouth and Sheffield United.
Wow. Brilliant. Let's buy him then.
That's I just let you know on that one, guys. Honestly,
no, I didn't know that. That's a lot of goals, actually. Yeah,
a lot of goals conceded. That's shocking, that man. Absolutely poor. Graham Bailey reports that Steve Bruce wants 3 more signings once Joe Willock's 20 million move to St John's Park is confirmed. It's going to be like 2 loans. It's going to be 2 loans, and it's going to be probably a freebie. I think it's going to be 2 more loans, and that'll be it.
Rob Holding might be one, mightn't he? Rob Holding.
Who do you think?
Rob Holding. I want a defender with Pierce at the back, and I don't think Holding's got Pierce. I could be wrong. Has Holding got Pierce? I don't think he has.
No. And he can't run backwards anyway. He's a low block defender. He can stand there. He's good against Chelsea or a big team where we just sit on the edge of the box. Yeah. He knock balls away all day long. But if you run at him, he's useless. So you do not want him, John.
No,
take him off our hands. We don't want him home.
Get a car engine running then. Drop him off there. Don't worry about the fare. I just drive back. Right, and I've got Eden lads. When are you getting super chats, John? Well, I get 1,000 people. You've got to get 1K, haven't you, before you get super chats, haven't you?
I think so, yeah.
So, but I get that sort of thing. So it's going to help us suit on that one sort of thing as well, if that'd be great. I've got Love Henry, Burkamp, etc. and many great players. Yeah, I mean, I wish our Newcastle Young fans take note as well and just respect the legends at the club. Right, I'll come down there. Would you take Dwight Gale since you're supposed to go for Ivan Toney? There's no difference. Both are championship proven players, not the Premier League. That's from Terry. Dwight Gale.
To be fair, I mean, Dwight Gale's played a lot more in the Premier League, hasn't he? Ivan Toney's had 4 games or whatever in the Premier League for Newcastle. So give him a chance at Brentford, see what he does. He might do an Ollie Watkins, mightn't he? Who knows?
Yeah, I think he'd do brilliant. Brentford. Yeah, I don't think this season.
I think he'll do well, yeah.
And do you think, Orba and Pepe are fed up with Arteta, they look like they can't be arsed. Aston Ryan from Canada. And they've got big up lads.
All right, Ross, how you doing?
And to them, these are good lads as well. The Jan once released a song called That's Entertainment. That's all we want for our football club supporters, not Boosie or Arteta, but...
Totally agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally agree. Is his name Terry Hall? Is he in the specials? Is it that Terry Hall from the specials?
Yeah. If it is him, sort of thing, I was some of his records, by the way.
Yeah, I've got the special. I'm going to see the specials in September, actually. So fantastic.
Wow. Well, good luck to you, man. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah,
midfielder also have Willock is the only midfielder also have. How come MD score goals? I've got tools from Norway. At our club, Bruce has made our players worse, except for 1 or 2, and is raining into rushes. Poor to watch, by the way. Joe Willock is the perfect signing for Newcastle, especially since he's played for us last season as the rest of the squad. Yeah. He's able to fit straight in as he knows the club and the city. Yeah. And Jason said Pete Graves has tweeted out a pic of Willock on the Sky Sports screen saying he's having his medical. and Armas Arteta, and you end up with Steve Bruce. Well, you know, Brentford are a very good side. That's when you know we have problems. Now I've got Mads football. Do you think Joe has about featuring Newcastle? If Newcastle gets with Steve Bruce, I think Steve Bruce should get sacked. If it doesn't start well, Steve Bruce, he should go. He should be sacked.
John, Steve Bruce does look like he could have a real face on underneath. He really,
he does. He looks like a spitting image puppet, doesn't he?
Maybe that's what it is. Steve Bruce's face does come off, and it's Arteta all along.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
I tell them how good.
You never see them in the same place together, do you? Ever? They're never together, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what it is, man. I don't think Arteta's for you guys at all. It's too big for him, if I'm honest. Arteta's inexperienced, very inexperienced at the end of the day. No way around it. It's no wonder he's got a fear of losing. It was too big a job for him to begin with.
Yeah, agree with that, yeah.
100%. This sounds Villa. Don't you guys here can't agree? And I've got Terry. Newcastle had to bring Graham Jones in to coach Steve Bruce. Without him, it'd be absolutely done. And as Arsenal supporters, what are your thoughts about the 2-0 situation that Newcastle are currently in? It's not happening, isn't it, for you guys?
I mean, it's crazy that all these other takeovers have happened. Man City's and Chelsea's and whoever else, and Burnley have had a takeover quite recently. And it seems crazy that Newcastle's the one that's not allowed to go through. And, you know, obviously from Arsenal's point of view, the longer it doesn't go through, the better, because it's one team that's not going to get above us. You know, if Newcastle get a takeover, they're going to overtake us, as other teams have already done, Leicester and whoever else. So from Arsenal's point of view, the longer, or if it doesn't happen, the better for us. But it's ridiculous that they're blocking this one takeover when they haven't blocked any of the others. So I don't understand what's going on. I've not followed it maybe as closely as maybe I could have done, but my understanding is that it seems to be the Premier League aren't happy with it for whatever reason. But why didn't they get involved in some of the other takeovers, which have not been, you know, haven't been good for football as a whole, have they? The Man City takeover hasn't been. The Chelsea takeover hasn't been. Burnley seems to have affected them, the club, badly. I don't know how that takeover managed to go through. So it seems crazy that this one's the only one that seems to have been stopped. And I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense. But it's something that needs to be sorted out, because if someone wants to buy a club and the owner wants to sell, it's got to be allowed to happen, hasn't it? As long as it's a right and proper owner, I suppose. You've got to look at it like that.
I would say, John, be patient. As Rich said, the only thing worse than not getting taken over is a bad one. I remember when West Ham were bought out by that Icelandic outfit that folded within no time.
Yeah.
You look at, I was shocked to read just yesterday, Barcelona's in over £1 billion worth of debt because they can't be run.
Yeah.
Mate, if you hold out, maybe it's not the right time, but the club's up for sale. Someone will come in, post-COVID market. You just get the right person. We've got the Cronkies. They just go around buying sports clubs. He's got no interest in football, soccer. He's got loads of NFL teams and whatnot. All of his teams, they just tick over. Mate, if he would be like, oh, so you finished top 6. Okay, good. All right, good. That's what we want. That's our money in the bank. He's not. Yep. If you can find that billionaire who wants a plaything, and this is it, this is his thing he can brag about to the other billionaires about how he won the Champions League and laugh around the table smoking cigars, and they really want to win everything. That's the guy you want. Or a decent company that are going to take it over properly and look after your club. So, mate, if it doesn't happen, it will happen. It's just taking time.
Yeah, I fully understand that as well, man. As long as you get a taker, as long as you get Ashley out of the club, but he's been trying to sell the club for 13 years, by the way, and that's a long time.
No, he owned it for 10, yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I can understand that sort of thing. Just got to be time. It'll come, and still what about the club, and we'll just see what happens there, sort of thing. But you never know. We might get up one day, one morning, take it all back.
Exactly.
I got Peter here. What Ollie and Richard like to take Joe Linton to Arsenal?
We couldn't separate you from him, John. So no, you need him more than we do. So you can keep him.
Right. And Fever, right? I mean, I'm going to ask you two guys a question. Honest opinion on Joe Linton. What do you think of Joe Linton? I'll start with you, Richard.
I think he works hard, doesn't he? I mean, I don't think you can question his work rate for the team. Has he got the quality to score goals in the Premier League? Probably not. But I think that maybe that wasn't his position, was it, when he joined? He was more of a wide player, wasn't he? I think when he first came, and I think he works hard, and I think he does a job, but he doesn't do the job that maybe everyone was expecting for the money that was paid for him. You'd expect him to come in and get 15, 20 goals, I suppose, and he wasn't that sort of player. I wouldn't take him at Arsenal because I think we've got enough players that maybe play in that sort of position. We've got Pepe, we've got Saka, we've got Reece Nelson and a few others. So that's not a position that we need a player in. He's not a centre forward. If he was a centre forward who could score goals, I'd take him all day long, but he's not. I quite like him, actually. I like his attitude on the pitch. He works for the team. And yeah, maybe if he hadn't come with such a price tag playing as a centre forward when he's not a centre forward, maybe Newcastle fans would have taken to him a bit more easily. I know you love him, John, but I don't think too many others.
There you got that fun. But listen, on Joe Linton, right? Listen, look, I want a kid to do well. I want him to succeed at the club. I want him to prove us all wrong. But Malcolm McDonald, he used to play for both clubs, Arsenal and Newcastle. He does not like him at all whatsoever. He's not having a go at him. He just doesn't think he's good enough for Newcastle. And for me, he has to score double figures. I agree, he works hard, but I want to see goals. I want to see him score double figures for him. And also, I want him to hold off defence as well. And I'll be watching very closely, sort of thing like that. I'm not going to... People are having a go at him, but I'm not having a go at him. I'm just speaking the truth. And then I get people on social media...
Yeah. Everybody wants their players to do well, don't they? You all want your players to do well and succeed, and some players aren't able to do it for whatever reason. And hopefully, Joe Linton can turn it around and be success at Newcastle. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Wait to see what happens there. I'll go through that just quickly. I know you guys are busy, sort of thing. I've got Judy Hopps as well. She's absolutely funny and she's lovable. Just here to drop a like as I'm working. Judy, thanks for coming on anyway. I hope you're okay. I'm off, lads. Great stream. Keep it up. Terry, have a good evening, my guy. I got Cal, got 40 seconds, and Terry said the same thing. I got, he said, Bino, I word to out. If you factor the wage bill, we reduce from releasing players, we essentially only spend 5-10 million max on the Willock deal. Nowhere near good enough window. For me, if you ask me, has it been a good transfer window? No, it hasn't, because we needed more players. We need a defender, with pace, we need a backup striker, and we could have done with another midfielder as well. So we need to reshoot that midfield. For me, it's been a poor transfer window. I just read that. Hey, Jude, hope you are good. And I haven't got many comments left anyway. I've got, hey, Jude, will be good. I read that here. Off this, no way to, yeah, like this on the Bruce. Also, Arsenal report saying he walked out in the meeting. That is, I presume, is agent, and Arsenal's like kind of gross tune. Got through the comments, thank God for that. But guys, I could ask you as well. I think you said, Richie, you're going to finish 8th this season. Am I right in saying 8th this season for you?
At the moment, with the squad that we've got, I think between 7th and 10th looks likely. But we'll see if we get a couple of signings in the rest of the window, then maybe we can push on to the top 6. We wasn't miles away last season. Other teams have improved. That's the worrying thing, and we haven't really. So, yeah, I think it depends on the transfer window. As things stand at the moment, I'll say 7th just because I want to think that we're going to improve on last season. If we get 2 or 3 signings between now and the end of the window, maybe top 6, 5, 6 maybe, who knows. But at the moment, I'm not confident.
And Ollie, for you as well, Arsenal, how do you think your season's going to pan out? Where do you think you're going to finish? As things stand.
We didn't score enough goals. We haven't improved our attack. We probably do better defensively. We're not. It could be as bad as 10th. There's a part of me that thinks if things went well, we could finish 5th. But I just think that all depends on Aubameyang. If he comes back, if he can get plus 20 goals in the league, we'll be okay. If he looks off. And I mean, but if by the end of August he hasn't scored and hasn't looked like scoring, he's a low-touch player. He'll touch the ball 20 times a game. That's all he'll do. All we want him to do, as Rich made a joke about, he was playing left back. All I want to see Aubameyang doing is in a 6-yard box, in and out, run. That's it. Otherwise, I'd hook him off, put Nketiah on, because Nketiah knows where he is an actual striker. There's no ifs or buts. He can't play on the wing. He's not a false 9. He's a striker.
Mm.
And so I am worried, yeah. If I'm honest, I think 8th.
For me, I got you down as 7th, and I think you do slightly, but I got you down as 7th in my prediction. And I was going to say, who's going to win the league, the Premier League this season? Who's going to be in the top 4? I'll start with you, Ollie, this time.
Man City will win it. And then I'm torn between Chelsea and Liverpool for 2nd. It could be either. I don't know what the state of... Because Liverpool didn't really have a back 4 last year. I won't go into too much detail. I'm going to take a punt on Liverpool 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, and probably go United 4th.
Cool. Okay. And Richard?
It's hard to see beyond Man City for the title, isn't it? Having spent 100 million on Grealish, they're probably going to get a striker in as well. Yeah, I agree. It's between Liverpool and Chelsea for 2nd, isn't it? Chelsea have had a decent transfer window. Liverpool have got Van Dijk back and whatever. That's going to be close. I think I'll go Chelsea 2nd, Liverpool 3rd, and I think 4th between Man United and Leicester, isn't it? You know, Leicester, maybe it'll be Leicester. I'll go Leicester just because they've been close the last 2 years getting in the top 4. And I think they'll be boosted from the FA Cup win, winning a Community Shield. So I'll go Leicester 4th.
Cool. For me, I'm going to say, I did say Man U's going to win, but now Lukaku's come in. I'm going to say Chelsea to win the league. I say I'm going to go first. I was going to say Man U 2nd, Man City 3rd, Leicester 4th.
Wow.
And I think United are really going to push Chelsea all the way this season because all he's got to get it right this season. I believe he will get it right this season.
And Sancho's a good player, isn't he? Sancho will do well for him.
Yeah, he's making a difference. They got Varane as well at the back. When he's not injured, sort of thing, he'll be a decent buy. Cavani's going to step up. He's 34, coming on 35. I think he's going to score goals to United. Chelsea's going to win for me. Lukaku's going to make the difference. Tuchel, what a manager he is. He's won the Champions League, won the Super Cup. Can he go away and win the Premier League? Whoever finishes above Chelsea is going to win that league. And I can't see anyone finish above Chelsea for me. I think Lukaku's going to have fun scoring goals this season. So for me, that's me 4. It's going to be Chelsea, United, City, Leicester for me. And who's going to be the bottom 3? I'm going to start with you, Richard.
It's quite interesting, the bottom 3. Probably more interesting than the top, actually, because I think Watford will probably go down. I don't think they're strong enough. Again, you know, they've done it last time. I think they're going to struggle. Burnley worry me, actually, with what's going on there. They're not signing any players. I've got a worry about them, actually. Burnley, they sort of only just about scraped through last season. I think Brentford will be safe. Norwich, are they better equipped this time? Maybe Norwich might be able to survive, but then who does that leave? You know, Brighton, I think will be fine. I know we've just bought one of their best defenders, but I think they'll be fine. It's difficult actually for the last place. I think it'll definitely be Watford. I'll go Burnley, and I don't want Burnley to go down, by the way. I just think they might really struggle. You often get one team, don't you, that's unexpected that drops into that relegation zone. And, you know, hopefully it's not Arsenal, but let's think. Actually, I'll go Norwich just because they're going to struggle, aren't they? Have they got enough to survive? So I'll go Watford, Burnley, and Norwich, bottom 3.
Cool. And Ollie, same goes to you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout. I don't think they're strong enough. I actually think Palace are going to have a bad year.
No, Vieira will sort them out. Vieira will get them rocking. They'll be top 6.
And I can't see Southampton. Southampton has sold Vestergaard.
Yeah, that's a point. Southampton, yeah.
So that's their spine gone. I can't think who they've signed that's half decent.
Adam Armstrong.
Yeah.
Is he the answer, though?
What was that, John?
They got Adam Armstrong from Blackburn, but is he going to be the answer, though?
He was with your lot, wasn't he?
That's what he was. Yeah, £15 million. We got £6 million from the deal as well for the sell-on clause. So Adam Armstrong's just gone there, £15 million, and yeah, and they got this French lad as well. at left back, and they bought a Chelsea lad as well on loan. So yeah, no, actually on the permanent deal. So never heard of the guy, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I'm with you. I can't see Norwich doing it, and I can't see Watford progressing either. And in the third spot for me could be any one of those three other teams. But I'll be controversial. I'll say Southampton.
I have to agree with Ollie. I mean, like you said, Norwich, Watford, and Southampton. For me, I think Southampton's going to struggle. I mean, they lost Danny Ings. That's a massive blow, and then you need to hang on to James Ward-Prowse as well. You need to hang on to him. But losing Vestergaard as well to Leicester, that's their mainstay at the back. That's going to be a problem, sort of thing, as well. So I'm really worried about Southampton. I really am. It's a shame, but I think they're going to go. I think Norwich going to go, and I think Watford's going to go. So that's be bottom three. But if you didn't get Joe Willock, Newcastle would have been there as well. And I think I think we're going to be safe. Where we're going to be, I don't know. But I think it's going to be low mid-table for us. But if you can get a defender with pace, I think it'd be okay. And then we'll just see what happens on that one. Just a quick one. Who's going to get promoted from the Championship? For me, I'm going to say West Brom.
Yeah, I mean, West Brom are going to be a good shout again. They seem to be a yo-yo club, don't they? Obviously, Swansea lost in the playoffs, didn't they, last season? They might come back stronger. There's a lot of big teams, isn't there? A lot of big clubs in the Championship still. You know, former Premier League clubs that's won trophies and stuff like that. It's a tough league, very tough league to get out of that, isn't it? But yeah, I might go Swansea just because, you know, they've been there or thereabouts, haven't they, recent years? They lost the playoffs, so they might do a Brentford and like lose the playoffs last year, maybe win them this year. So I'll go with them.
Okay, cool. And Ollie, for you? Quite like Forest. Other than not entirely sure. I've not been monitoring the window so much. And it's one of the hardest leagues to get out of. It'd be nice to see if there's a breakaway team around Christmas. Maybe it'll develop a bit more. As long as, yeah, I mean, it could be West Brom. I just find them extremely boring and got no interest in them coming up. So pleased that Leeds did it a year ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Swansea could be strong.
Yeah. Fair enough. For me, I'm going to say West Brom, Fulham, and Bournemouth for me to go up. And last question before I let you go. And who's going to be the first manager to be sacked?
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?
Bruce is the favourite, by the way.
Is he the favourite, is he? Wow, okay.
Yeah, but he's the favourite to be the first manager to get sacked.
I mean, if Arsenal lose their first 3 games in the bottom of the league, then Arteta's going to be one of the favourites, surely. You know, I don't know. That's it'll probably end up. I mean, last season there wasn't that many managers sacked, was there? In the end, I don't know whether it was because of the COVID thing and the no fans in the stadium and stuff. I'm not sure, but I don't know. There might be a surprise one, you know. There might be a surprise, maybe Southampton, perhaps, because obviously they might start the season badly with losing their players. If they're struggling, Sean Dyche, you know, I know that they love him there, but, you know, they've not got any players in and stuff like that. I think he might actually walk out, let alone being sacked. I'm not sure, but I think there's 1 or 2 possibilities, but a lot of it's going to depend. It's a results business, isn't it? It depends how teams start. I mean, if I was going to pick somebody now, I guess I would probably say, see, Watford sack a lot of managers, don't they? If they start badly, they could be a club that might sack their manager first. I'll go Southampton just because, yeah, I've forgotten about the players they've lost, actually. I do think they might struggle. And, yeah, it could be him. I like him, actually, Hasselhurter, but it could be him maybe first out the door, unfortunately. Or Arteta.
Fair enough. Are you going for Ollie?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any of the top 4 teams.
Nuno, he might get sacked. Nuno.
Yeah, Nuno's the only. I wrote Nuno down. He's the only one. But the thing is, it's whether he loses the room, because there was a little bit of a rift pre-season with him and Kane about how he hadn't contacted Kane and he was trying to hardball him, strong arm him, saying Kane's got to come to me kind of thing. And And I wonder how he'll play with the dressing room. He had quite a Portuguese strong dressing room where he was last based, and this is quite a new world for him. And it's a big step up. It's a big step up in quality, a bit like when Moyes went Everton and Man United. You know, he's gone to a big team, expectations to win every week. I'm interested to see how that develops. So it could be Nuno, but I'm kind of with you. I think the bottom teams, if they're near the bottom at Christmas, there'll be people getting sacked. It could be Watford, Southampton, anyone of that number. Palace, they've got a new manager. It could be any of them.
No, Vieira's not going to get sacked. Vieira will not get sacked. Don't say that. He can't get sacked.
I hope he'll do well. I hope he'll do well because it's going to be a change. It's going to be a massive change for the Palace as well because they're going to take a risk. They're going to play risky football and be very interested to see how they do. And I think the players that he's got, who he brought in, will buy into his system, sort of thing with Palace. It'll be very interesting to see how Palace do.
I'm looking forward to seeing Palace this season because obviously Patrick Vieira for me is a potential future manager of Arsenal if he does well. If he proves himself in the Premier League at Palace, they play good football, get good results, then surely he's going to have to be in the running for the Arsenal job, isn't he, at some point? So I'm really interested to see. Obviously, if it works badly and they are in the bottom three and get relegated, then that'll end that kind of dream. But I'm hoping he does well. I'll be definitely watching a lot of Palace this season just to see how that works out. Because I wouldn't mind him coming back to Arsenal at some stage. So that'd be nice.
First man sent off. I guarantee it. He'll get a red card.
You'd probably get a couple. Yeah, he won't help himself, will he? He won't be able to help himself. He definitely will.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun, man. But I'll be looking forward to see Palace play as well. See how they do. Do you think Conte will hire Bruce? Definitely not. Definitely not.
No, I hope not. I hope not. Anyway, unless he takes over Newcastle, maybe Kroenke one day. Who knows? That'll be your buyout, John. That'll be you'll get Kroenke. He'll buy Newcastle. He'll sell Arsenal to that Spotify dude, and then he'll buy Newcastle for you. There you go.
There you go. Then he probably wouldn't spend any money anyway. But hey, when at least they'll spend money when the time is right. But at the end of the day, I mean, it'd be interesting, sort of thing. It'd be interesting. And I think for me, the first manager is going to be, you got Bruce, obviously, you got Hatton Hussel, you got that Watford manager, Munoz, the Watford manager. I'm going to say Munoz for Watford because Watford seem to be sacking managers left, right, and centre. But I think it'd be the first to go, I'm afraid. And it'd be odds on to be out because you look at Watford's managerial record in the past. It's absolutely a joke. Actually,
talking about that, I was just thinking maybe Rafa at Everton, because they've had a terrible pre-season. If they start the season badly, they don't tend to keep managers long, do they? They didn't give Ancelotti that long, did they? So be interesting that one. If Everton don't start well, they've had a poor pre-season. He might be one of the favourites, Rafa. Yeah,
the fans don't like him. They could get boos. They're for him if he's losing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one to watch for. They need to start the season well, Everton, don't they, to get the fans on side with him because it wasn't a popular decision, was it? So that's fun to watch, definitely.
Not at all. Absolutely right. I mean, I love Rafa the bits, but I think Everton he may not get that time. But I'll just miss a comment here as well from Kaz Cole. Thanks for sending us a message there. Has Willock signed for Newcastle? He will do so tomorrow if the medical is successful. So there you go. We've got Jules. So Angelotti, we asked to take over Real Madrid, and he is asked to take over Real Madrid. Yeah, he's asked to take over Real Madrid, and he just went. He didn't even think twice, didn't he? He just went, left Everton in the lurch, and that's exactly what he did. And even the Everton fans didn't rate him as well. But last question for our go, Malcolm McDonald, right? I mean, he was on the show and the NFC Matters tweet. He had a right go at Joe Linton and Eats, right? And basically, I sent out a tweet saying that what's your opinion on Malcolm's comments on Joe Linton? For me, in my opinion, he's absolutely right. For me, he's just not good enough, but he needs to prove us wrong. And then again, fans, or younger Newcastle fans, having a dig at Malcolm McDonald, who's in the Mac, saying that he's a dinosaur. What's your take? He's played for the Arsenal guys. What's your take on him?
I mean, I love Malcolm McDonald. I remember him in the 70s when he was in Superstars on the telly. And he was always won the 100 metres and that, didn't he? He was, and obviously he was a great goal scorer, wasn't he? Great player in his day. I mean, I suppose you could say he's a dinosaur in the sense that he's old school, isn't he? He played football in the 1970s and it was a different game then. But, his opinion must be respected in Newcastle because he's an absolute legend with Newcastle, isn't he? The amount of goals that he scored before he joined Arsenal. And, you know, I would respect his opinion about most things, to be fair. So if he doesn't think Joe Linton's good enough for Newcastle, then he's probably got a point. He's entitled to that opinion, isn't he? I don't know really enough about Joe Linton overall. I've seen him play a few times and I can understand the frustration that the fans have with him. But yeah, I mean, Malcolm McDonald as a footballer was fantastic. He's a legend at both Arsenal and Newcastle, really. And you know, if he says, you know, he's entitled to his opinion on both clubs, isn't he? And if he gives his opinion, people should listen. They don't have to agree with him, of course not. But certainly don't just dismiss his opinion because he knows football. He's been involved in football for a long time, hasn't he? So I would certainly respect his opinion about anything to do with football, really. So yeah.
Well said, Richard. Absolutely well said. Exactly my point as well. I think our younger fans need to put some respect back in St. Max name because at the end of the day, it's a legend, right? He scores, and Joe Linton should take a leaf out of this guy's book because he scored.
I think what fans need to do, John, is maybe, you know, look up Malcolm McDonald on Wikipedia. Obviously, if you don't know about him, you wasn't around when he played, look him up on Wikipedia, look at his goal scoring record, look at what he did at Newcastle and at Arsenal afterwards. I know he got injured at Arsenal and had to retire, but look at his record at Newcastle and you've got to respect that. You've got to. I mean, you know, his goal scoring record is up there with the best, isn't it? You know, it's up there with Alan Shearer, isn't it? When you look at how many goals he scored for Newcastle season after season after season. He was always scoring 30-odd goals, wasn't he? Just fantastic player. So, yeah, look him up, look at what he did, and then decide whether you want to respect his opinion or not. And I'm sure that you'll decide that you should do because he was a fantastic footballer. And he was good at superstars as well, I say. I liked him in that as well.
Well said, well said. You know what it is, Rich, right? I mean, like he scored 95 goals in 187 appearances in 5 seasons, right? And the worst thing is, right, I mean, the Newcastle fan base, so some of the Newcastle fans, especially young ones, right, they just haven't got a clue. They like to have a go at legends as well. So, in saying that, having a go at me personally on Twitter and saying that what do you all listen to him for? He's old school. He is a dinosaur and this and that and talk that sort of thing. My motto is, my take on this is like, you just said it there. Check him out. Watch his videos, right? Come back at us, yeah? But they won't do that because they think they know best, yeah? Because they haven't got the history of Newcastle United. So maybe look at the whole picture, right? Cracking players over the years. Malcolm McDonald, Peter Beardsley, Chris Waddle, yeah? Paul Gascoigne, yeah? We have some cracking players over the years, you know? And it just goes to show that some of our fan base, right, are just absolute race stars. Some of them, honestly. I don't know what Arsenal fans as well. I'm sure the
Arsenal fans are worse. Don't worry about that. They're worse.
Wow. Right, you then as well. So yeah. And Ollie as well. What's your take before Ollie? What's your take on Malcolm? I know.
He's probably right. The comments about Joel Linton remind me a little bit of Pepe. We for the first year Pepe was at Arsenal, you couldn't call him. You had to call him £72 million Pepe, right? And he wasn't good enough, even though his stats weren't that bad. I think his goals and assists were kind of top end of the team. But you're judging him on his price tag. Same with Joel Linton. If you bought Joel Linton from second division Brazil for £4 million, you probably wouldn't care. It's the fact that I think you paid 42 million or something for him. And so the expectation for £42 million player, 15 goals plus. And he's got a right to say he hasn't proved himself. He has been a flop. He can't get in your starting team. Willock's going to come in. Callum Wilson's your starting centre forward. Yeah. He's not going to get on the wings either. Now ASM's back. That's it. He's a bench player, and he's not even really an impact sub. He doesn't strike me as anyone with particular goal scoring ability. He hasn't got particular pace, or he hasn't got a superstar talent like skill that makes him stand out from everyone else. And the one thing I like about Willock is the goal scoring is his super skill. That is the thing he can do. And for me, he's just a bit of a middle of the range player that doesn't stand out, Joel Linton. You should probably sell him, get 20 million quid, cut your losses, get someone else. That's it.
Wow. Listen, on Joe Linton, right? I mean, he's not good enough for Newcastle United, but I will continue to support the guy if he plays on the pitch, if he performs, you know, and he keeps the fans happy, then I will praise him. Yeah, he's improved in the last couple of games I've watched him, okay, but he needs to step it up another level. I want to see him score double figures. I want to see him push off the defense as well. He's a big unit. He's 6'1", 6'2", right? He's got to perform, yeah. And if he plays well, I will praise him. If he doesn't play well, then I will be honest with him as well on the day. So that's my opinion on Joe Linton, and I want him to succeed at the football club. But this season, it has to be a massive season for him. This is his third season now, and he has to sort it out very quickly. But I'm not going to tap it on him yet, but most fans will do. So there you go on Joe Linton. Well, guys, did you enjoy coming on my show tonight?
It was great. Cheers, John.
Yeah, always enjoy speaking to you, John. You're a legend, mate. Honestly, fantastic.
Thanks, man. Thanks very much, man. And I really appreciate you guys, legend as well. And I just hope I also get into, for me, I hope you get in the top 6 this season. Whether you do so, I don't know. But if you do, massive well done to you. But you got a tough game tonight against Brentford. We got West Ham on Sunday. That'll be tough. Then we got Villa away. That'll be very tough as well. I'm glad we got Joe Willock. Thanks to let us have Joe. And let's hope he gets his 20 goals this season, which he's quite capable of doing. If he scores against West Ham on Sunday, he's equal Alan Shearer's record of 9 straight goals.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. So I'll only just known that bar away. And I've got Tom here. Great show, John. Thank you very much indeed. I shall be back tomorrow with the press conference reaction around about 8 o'clock. Probably do about 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock do the press conference reaction. And please join us for that. I'm sure what Steve is going to have to say, what crap he comes out with as well. I'm sure you big up the West Ham, David Moyes and West Ham up with more than he does. And if you do like the video, please smash a like, subscribe to my channel. Richard, where do you find you on, mate?
Richard, I've got a channel on YouTube. It's called Over and Over and Over Again. Obviously, an Arsenal channel. I do a lot of watch-alongs. I do a lot of stuff on the history of the club as well, because I do think that's important. History of football as well. You know, we all love football, and we wouldn't be where we are today without what's gone in the past. So I like to look back at things as well. I do like to get fans of other clubs on as well. Obviously, John's been on the channel before, which was a pleasure, and a couple of your mates as well. We've had Paul on as well, and Baz as well. So yeah, I like to get other fans on the channel as well when we're playing the other teams and stuff. It's good to meet other fans, isn't it, and have a chat. I like to do all that kind of stuff. So if that kind of appeals to you, come over to give the channel a look. It's Over and Over and Over Again, and maybe subscribe if you enjoy it. That would be great. And thanks for having me on again, John. It's brilliant. It's always a pleasure. I'll say always a pleasure talking to you. Always a pleasure to be involved with your channel as well. Fantastic. I love your channel. It's brilliant.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. I love your channel as well. You've done some good content as well. I've watched you a few times, and I'm so excited when also on the attack. And yeah, so absolutely amazing. And I appreciate that. And Ollie, where do you find you as well, mate?
It's at Ollie AFC on Twitter, and a podcast called the Bow Quarter Podcast, which it touches on football. We've discussed gay footballers and the European Super League, but it's more of a comedy-based podcast channel, so check that out if you wish. And yeah, pleasure. Really enjoyed the chat tonight. Good luck with the season. Yeah, be a good test. Your good opening game. Good to see how you do against Villa. That might be our benchmark for the year. So yeah. Hopefully you'll do them 3-0, and I'll stop worrying.
Well, I mean, I should be worrying now. Now we've got Joe Willock. Another couple more signings, like loan signings, will be absolutely fine. But we definitely need to reshape the midfield, defence of Pierce, and a backup striker. And where we get more, I don't know, but we have to wait and see. But guys, thanks very much for coming on, and we're definitely going to meet up again soon. And enjoy your evening, and thanks for coming on. You take care.